Calgary Flames.
Well, I was going to say, you want to be playing, play your best hockey at the right time of year and peak at the right time and all that. And the Flames it feels like they're kind of doing that. They've won 4 in a row. It's all been in kind of come from behind fashion. Last night, they're down 2-1. They tie it, then give up, or they go ahead and they give up a tying goal, but they get it done. But Kadri's is where he's playing his best that we think we've seen him in Calgary, or at least is matching that. Huberdeau is at his best. Mackenzie Weegar's been great. I think Rasmus Anderson's had a little bit of a resurgence here after a bit of a dip in play. Wolf has been outstanding. The St. Louis Blues are saying, we can do that too. It's going to be a dogfight, but we talked about it last night. If you were at the game, I'm suggesting that you had a hell of a good time if you were cheering for the Flames. The right team won, and you weren't sure if they were going to win. This is what the playoff push is like, and it feels like it's been a long time since Flames fans have been able to kind of get into it. The Wolf factor, I think, makes things a little bit different. Not to say we didn't think Jacob Markstrom was a good goalie, but it just feels a little bit different. But man, they still need some help here, it feels like, even though with games in hand that they kind of have.
They control their own destiny, but
they do. And if you look at it, guys, there's that website Strength of Schedule, and I think Calgary's like 18th. So meaning they've got some favorable matchups. They control their own destiny with games in hand. And I mean, this St. Louis team won't go away. Like, I think they're like 14-2-1 in their last, 17, something ridiculous like that.
14-2-2. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. 14-2-2.
You got it.
So, yes, they're on a nice roll. At some point, will they hit the ditch? But what you need to do if you're the Calgary Flames is control your own destiny. And what I like about it, and now you're playing with fire and you're dinking around getting behind in games and then having to storm back and have this, I was watching that New Jersey game. I'm like, they're dead in the water. It's 3-1 off day, whatever it is. And all of a sudden it's 5-3. You're like, holy smokes. How did this happen? So for me, they're finding ways to win different ways, and it's different heroes every night. It's not just, hey, it's Dustin Wolf, or hey, it's this player. You're seeing, like, as you mentioned, resurgence. Nazem Kadri that's the best I've seen him play in a long time. There was and I would only say this respectfully, but there was a time where I was watching him this year and I'm like, I don't know if the legs have fallen off. It didn't look like he had jump. The game and everybody was out to lunch, but the game in Toronto, he looked awful. He looked like Father Time had caught him. And of course they win the next night, but Nazem Kadri looks like he's got some zip to his game. And that's what he needs, some snarl. He needs some bite. He needs some speed. He needs to use his hands. Like, that's what makes him a unique player. A unique player is somebody who can bring something different to the table in what is ever needed within that game. Nazem Kadri can do that because he can fight. He can hit. He can score. He can be an emotional leader. And you're seeing that. Like, last night was a prime example of him taking the ball and running with it. And, I'm not behind the scenes. You guys are closer to it, but it seems like that team is having fun. It seems like they've got some chemistry within the room. It seems like they've got something special there. I'm not going to say it was 0-4, because they don't have Iggy and they don't have Kipper, but they have a young Kipper technically, right? And, there is a formula there that they're getting it done and they're playing for each other. And that's what's impressive for me.
Why? They're not telling you how much they like each other. They're going out and playing and showing you. They don't have to say, oh, no, we like each other. We're really tight group. It's like, well,
you mean not like Zadorov? Or whatever.
Well, yeah, we talked about that earlier. Rhett brought it up, that the value that there has to be for the young guys to be part of games that matter here, to see the veterans in the room, not – I don't give a like Zadorov a year ago, where they don't care and all they want is, where am I signing next summer and all this sort of thing. To see Kadri, right, a veteran, one of the leaders of your team, how much it matters to him, that can't help but rub off on even guys like Frost, who's 25, but not a lot of experience there in the playoffs for these guys either. But the young guys are really feeding off of this, I would think.
I think so, but you look at a guy like Frost. I think Frost gets it. Okay, his dad grew up around, around the Maple Leafs. He's a Toronto area kid. He's Canadian, understands Canadian market, understands he's coming from a scenario where, Philly, I mean, they gave up a touchdown again last night. Like they're in one and they're obviously in a rebuild. Morgan Frost understands what's in front of him. Like, I've got a real opportunity here to grow my game. Canada, Calgary,
Great organization.
The organization is amazing, first class. These subtle stories that we forget. That Connie and Peter Hanlon fly to pick him up in the private jet. Like, not every team does that. Toronto Maple Leafs have nothing but money, but it sounds like, Brandon Carlo flew from Tampa, first class or whatever, but it wasn't PJ. I don't think it was. Like, to me, there's small things that the details that the organization's doing. And Connie deserves a lot of credit here too, because he could have easily said Rasmus Anderson, and I know Pinder probably was like, sell them all. I don't know where he was at with his mindset, but Connie saw something there and gave the guys the opportunity. It's not like in the offseason, he's not going to continue to tinker to make this team better. But he said, you know what, for what we have right now, we're sticking with it, and let's see what the guys can do. He's given them the confidence. They're paying him back by playing that way.
Well, and you would have never guessed that St. Louis would be that good, where that's the team you're trying to catch, right? Like, anyway, it is what it is.
But for a long time, it just felt like someone was going to make the playoffs here in the West. And I'm sure maybe it's to the same extent, but it's because Vancouver wasn't very good and the Flames weren't good. Somebody was going to get in. It was just going to be the best of a group of men. Right. But now the Flames they've upped their game, and obviously St. Louis.
Are the Wild capable of falling out? Like, they're only 2 up on St. Louis, game in hand. I guess
the Wild is kind of in one because they've certainly fallen off. Now, didn't they get dummied last night? Wasn't it 5-1? I think it was to Vegas. I believe it was.
Vegas.
I will put a clinic on, but like Minnesota isn't 100% solidified. 2 can make that spot. So, I mean, is it conceivable all of a sudden it's Vancouver and Calgary? I don't think 78 to 85. I mean, what do you make them the magic number is? Low 90s, 90-ish.
Chat GPT says 93. I said 95. I said if you get 95, you're in for sure. And the AI's telling you 93.
I think not. Chat GPT is correct. I do believe it's like low 90s that'll make it, because again, these guys are playing each other. Like, there's 3-point games. There's playing each other. All of that. I mean, Calgary, you're dealing from a position of strength if you take those games in hand and you turn them into points.
It's just harder, right? Because the schedule, you've got 3 more games to play in this kind of same amount of time, right? Like, right. I don't give a shit what you say. It's going to pile up on you every other day for the next month. Is a lot of hockey.
Well, and if you're predicting it, you go on their winning percentage. Okay, you got 12 games left. Their winning percentage, like, you can't just trudge along. Your winning percentage is, what is it, 563 or whatever it is. If you're going to do that, you're probably not going to make the playoffs. You might need a 680 or a 700. You might have to win 7 or 8 out of the last 12 that you are, and that puts you in the playoffs. But it's going to be an uphill battle, but it's worth it right now. This is meaningful hockey. I don't know if the market's excited. It is. I do have a trip to Calgary planned soon, so I want to feel it. But I think they're in great. I think there is going to be some form of a market correction for St. Louis. I just don't think they run the table the rest of the season.
I agree.
So you circle that. You're right. Minnesota's not, dead in the water, but they're certainly leaking oil. So, there is a scenario where maybe St. Louis climbs over Minnesota and Minnie's the team, but I would still think St. Louis is going to hit the ditch at some point and maybe, lose 3 of 4 type of thing, where Calgary, you've got to find a way to get points every night, and even against formidable opponents. That's really the key.
Yeah, we got Dallas tomorrow.
You got to hope that, Dallas either has a hard-fought battle against Edmonton tonight, and they don't have much on a back-to-back, really. That's what you're hoping. You hope that Dallas doesn't have an off night and Edmonton lays the beats to them, and then they're pissed off coming into Calgary. That's what
you want them to have a victory up north and then play the backup.
You want them fat and happy. That's what you want. Fat and happy. Hey, we beat a team that knocked us out of the playoffs. And hey, we're going down to Calgary. Yeah, they're battling, but we'll play our backup. We'll do this and that. We'll still make it through. You've got to find a way, if you're Calgary, to go, we're going to expose a team that played the night before. And you can hope that maybe the Oilers take it to the ground and have a physical battle with them, and then they wake up going, I don't know if I want to do this again the next night.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.